Namaskar. Huge apologies for the delay. It's just technical difficulties, one after the other, but everything is sorted out. Welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host, Sri Iyer, and we have some breaking news about Turkiye. Mr. Erdogan, if you let one person rule for too long in a democracy, bad things will happen to that country. That is the takeaway here. We have three important pointers that point to where Turkiye is headed and its mindset. You know, Kemal Atatürk pulled Turkiye away from a religious bigotry mindset wherein millions of Christians were killed in Armenia during the First World War, and then after they lost decisively in there, they became a secular Islamic republic until Mr. Erdogan comes in and then he pulls it back, has this grand dreams of becoming a caliph and all that stuff. Here we're going to show you how they have been caught with their hands in the cookie jar in the recent conflict, Operation Sindoor, where their people, now we are getting news that some of their operators were operating their missiles in Pakistan, and they actually were killed. So all this stuff and more, let's take a quick look at a slide deck. A small request to all of you to please like this video, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. Turkiye faces the heat in India. Celebi, this is the big one. They have control, or they're operating in 9 airports in India. Looks like they are about to lose a lot of those privileges too. Next one, please. So the whole Celebi aviation group and its operations in India are under the scanner. We've got some information that we're going to make release to you today on what exactly has happened there. This is not a new problem. In fact, this oil smuggling business started under Turkiye and Erdogan and his son Bilal Erdogan as far back as about 15 years now. And how when ISIS was controlling Mosul, how they used to allow that oil to be illegally taken out to the Mediterranean and from there to beyond, all that stuff. And we are also seeing a new movement of Boycott Turkey in India, where a sizable amount of business that comes from India to Turkiye is in danger. In fact, the interesting thing is in this India-Turkiye trade relations, India can easily supplement what they are not going to get from Turkiye from other countries, but not the other way around. For example, tourism, all their so-called Turkaputras, the Khans, the one that starts with A. These guys were suddenly now seen, hobnobbing with Erdogan and Erdogan's wife, and this rascal who keeps marrying Hindu women. All this stuff. Now you'll start seeing them making some Aman ki Asha noises with Turkiye now. So let's jump into the thing about the latest thing that happened. In the conflict, what was found out was that there were a lot of Turkiye's drones that were being operated, right? Then the interesting thing here is this is something that is now empirically established, but it will never be proven. Even the first phase, 22nd April, you had the Pahalgam attack. The first hit from India, retaliatory strike on 9 terrorist handouts, 9 locations, but I think 12 or 13 hits, somewhere 11 to 13. I don't know exactly the number. It doesn't matter. From Bahawalpur all the way up into LOC, right? Those hits, it is believed that even those were being surveilled under Chinese ISR. In other words, they were fully expecting a retaliation only on these sites. Pakistan, along with Turkiye, along with China, and now Azerbaijan giving the dholak and tabla, all these people were fully expecting a hit back from India, and they thought they had themselves covered until India exposed their inadequacy by going and hitting every one of those sites. So China got a little jarred there. Then what happened? Then for India thought, okay, retaliatory strikes are over. We're not going to do anything. But Pakistan is not somebody who thinks logically. He didn't realize that if India could easily penetrate all the monitoring of China, that if they retaliate, they are going to get even more back to them. Then, one thing led after the other, and you saw at the end, like major airfields, some nuclear sites, and now they are saying, oh, there is no radiation, there is no radiation. Why the hell then did you fly in all those airplanes with boron? See, the thing is, all this stuff, within the first 24 hours, the truth will be out, and then everything else is cover. The worst part about all these things is the $1.4 billion that has been given by the IMF to Pakistan. They are taking 14 crores out of that and giving 1 crore each to the members of the family and the people who are living in the Bahawalpur camp under Azhar Masood. It's just, these are shitheads. These people are shitheads, the people who run Pakistan. Okay, and for America to get along, I don't know what America is thinking. I don't know which Einstein in the Department of State is saying, okay, let's allow them to have 14 crore rupees. I mean, absolute no reasoning, no law. And can United States decide which side it wants to be? As you see in this particular episode, you will start seeing how this Middle East control has gone this way, that way, this way. Whether it is Obama or now under Trump, I'm not sure anymore. What the hell is Trump thinking? He is getting himself photographed with some of the most violent characters around. Anyway, so get back to this. What is happening now is Turkiye has been fully caught with their hands in the cookie jar. Now, Indian government have started putting some withdrawing some security allowances to the Celebi aviation company, and it will start, the review is started now, and it is going to look at what exactly are the critical infrastructure linked services. 100% I can tell you they'll find something where some of this data was leaking back to Pakistan. This is completely how these guys operate. Next page. So, who is Celebi Aviation Holding? Celebi Aviation Holding is a Turkish company. It operates ground handling and cargo services in several countries, including India. How did they get a foothold in India? Well, it operates through Celebi Airport Services India Private Limited, Celebi Delhi Cargo Terminal Management India Private Limited. See, typically any MNC, when it establishes operations in India, they'll have an Indian subsidiary with some partial ownership from India. This is regular par for the course. Next one, please. The thing interesting about this is they operate in 9 major airports such as Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Bengaluru, Hyderabad, Cochin, Ahmedabad, Goa, and Kannur. I am seeing Delhi and Bangalore becoming very, very, very busy, very busy. I mean, extremely busy. My flight takeoff was delayed by 1 hour because the runway was congested. And this is the new terminal that has been operational in Bengaluru, Terminal 2. New terminal, already congested. That's the way it is. So, Celebi handles 58,000 plus flights and 540,000 tons of cargo annually and employs approximately 7,800 people in India. What is going to happen to their jobs? We'll wait and see how it goes. But certainly there are some national security interests at stake here. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out, what the government does. When did they enter? They entered in late 2008 after the 26/11 attacks during the tenure of the UPA government. It established a joint venture with NAS India, forming Celebi NAS Airport Services India Private Limited, in which Celebi held a majority stake, means more than 50.1%. This consortium secured a 10-year contract to provide ground handling services at the Mumbai Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport. The entry of Celebi into India was met with opposition from certain political groups and trade unions then itself. This was not something that was not challenged. Now, concerns have surfaced over the alleged links to Sumaya Erdogan, who is the daughter of Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who is married to Selçuk Bayraktar, the CTO of Baykar, maker of the Bayraktar drones used by Pakistan. You see how this is, right? Erdogan His daughter is married to the CEO of the drone company. These drones in turn are now being deployed in Pakistan, and of course they were also used by Ukraine against Russia, I think. I don't know if the other way also happened, because they were selling it to anybody who was willing to pay for it. The interesting thing here is, according to sources, Sumaya Erdogan holds an approximate 10% in Celebi aviation. 10%. That's a big number. A source also indicated that Celebi terminal in Delhi overlooks the sensitive VVIP technical area. If you go into the airport, Delhi airport today, right, there are passenger terminals like Terminal 1, Terminal 2, Terminal 3, and so on. Now, there is a separate VIP terminal. This is just to be able to facilitate VIPs movement, because every day, every hour, there is some VIP, like a CM of a state, or a minister from a state, or a minister from a visiting country, visiting dignitary, all sorts of stuff. It's a fairly busy terminal on its own. I've been there. I've taken off and I've landed also. So I know how the layout is. Interesting thing is that the Celebi terminal in Delhi overlooks the sensitive VVIP technical area. See, what happens is, while you are waiting for the plane to take off or land or whatever, right, there's a waiting area there, nice sofas and all that stuff. With, it's like a business lounge, except on steroids. I mean, you get a lot of good stuff. So if somebody is waiting there, and if somebody comes to know that a certain high value individual is waiting there, guess what? Your imagination is the only thing there. A lot of bad things can happen. Now, this is the thing. Here is the Celebi Delhi cargo terminal that has been recently viewed, and you can see the Palam Tech area, where the distance is not very far. You can see the airstrips also, and also look at how close it is to JW Marriott. You can see this is a very crucial hotel. Why it is crucial is because if you have only few hours to spend in Delhi, you can't go and meet every customer. Instead, you tell them, look, I'm staying at this hotel, and you give them time slots, and they come and meet you and go. This is the new way business is being done. So, so you get the point, right? How close it is to all these important places. Next one, please. Now, political pressure is beginning to mount on India. Shiv Sena's leader Murji Patel led a delegation to Mumbai International Airport Limited, demanding cancellation of Celebi operations in the they wanted the contract to be voided within 10 days. See, that's difficult to do. These are international contracts. There may be some bindings there. You may have to give them sufficient notice. They may have to give them time to reply, and so on. But you can always say that you are under scrutiny. At least they'll it will give you some time to look at the damage that could have possibly have been caused, all that stuff. Now, given Turkey's active support to Pakistan, including armed drones and diplomatic backing during Operation Sindoor, India is likely to reconsider all forms of economic and strategic engagements with Turkish entities, starting with aviation services such as Celebi. Think about this. When Turkey had a massive earthquake, India not only supplied essential food items, but also sent essential services. Many doctors went out to the far-flung areas. The earthquake was devastating. And India did human service for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. A lot of pictures, you can see a lot of videos about how the genuine kindness and gratitude shown by the Turkish people. Should we start equating the Turkish people with the Turkish government and saying that both are the same mindset? I mean, I would not have a problem saying that about the Pakistani mindset. I don't know how radicalized Turkey has become in the last few decades. Let's hope that it's not as bad as Pakistan is. Next one, please. Oh, okay. Ashish Shelar. Sorry about that. The picture was wrong. We apologize. Murji Patel's picture is not there. Now, the security clearance where Celebi Airport had access to some protected areas, that has been revoked. There's a letter that we will show you, a copy of that letter. That means that their access to within all these airports, there may be some limits now. They may not be able to get to everything, and there is going to be probably a more deeper inquiry as to whether data leaked. This is the bigger concern. This is the bigger concern. How did, for example, anyway, lot of questions that come just from that one question. We'll see how this thing plays out. The Director General of the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security has issued a revocation order. The order states that the clearance granted on 21/11/2022 is revoked with immediate effect in the interests of national security. India is actively engaging with Turkey's regional and historical rivals, including Greece, Armenia, and Cyprus. Now, this is the letter that revokes the security clearance. Now, what about IndiGo? IndiGo has an agreement. I think there is one other airline also that has an agreement, because the cheapest way to fly to United States, Canada, and United Kingdom, I'm told, is by taking a stopover at Istanbul airport in Turkiye. And I think IndiGo has something like that, where they they provide connectivity from Indian cities to over 30 destinations in Europe and US via Istanbul, and that whole thing is under scrutiny. IndiGo has defended its collaboration, highlighting the benefits of enhanced connectivity and economic contributions, including job creation and increased tax revenues. Look, IndiGo has taken a huge step forward. They placed orders for 300 plus 300, I think 600 planes to Airbus and Boeing, if I remember correctly. I think part of that order to Boeing got converted back into Airbus. Whatever it is, they have invested thinking that they will be able to grab a huge part of this market. And now, with India telling IndiGo to go easy, whether IndiGo will buckle down or will they say, look, we've got too much invested in this, you need to give us some leeway until we figure out another port like Istanbul. Istanbul is connected well. I don't know if there is somebody else. Maybe Dubai can do it. Maybe Doha can do it. But you have to choose which one is the lesser evil, I guess. So far, IndiGo has not said anything about suspending or altering its code share agreements with Turkish Airlines. So this is where this other thing comes. If you can you take out Istanbul and put instead to go through Dubai? If it is there, then the Emirates will stand to gain, and the Turkish airline will lose big. Well, we'll wait and see how that goes. Now, this is not the only thing. I'm now going back to step 2, which is the oil smuggling that has been taking place involving Bilal Erdogan, the son of Recep Tayyip Erdogan. This has been something that has been going on for over 15 years. Remember, I used to tell you, right, that illegally oil would be pumped from Mosul when ISIS was controlling it, and then that would be put on trucks and it will come all the way down to the Mediterranean coast, and then it will be put on barges, and these barges will they are supposed to be not barges, they are supposed to be oil containers, and these containers don't have a destination predefined, no destination. So what they would do is they'll just keep on making big 8s in the Mediterranean. And there is something called as a transponder that is supposed to transmit its location every 20 minutes to a satellite, so that the monitoring global agency out of Houston, if I remember correctly, knows where each oil container is at any given point in time. This is just to be able to respond to oil emergencies. Like, for example, there's an oil spill, to be able to respond to that. So the agreement is for any oil tanker is that it transmit its location every 20 minutes. 20 minutes, if I remember correctly, 20, or it could be 30. Look, these are all articles that came in P Gurus 10 years ago. I don't fully remember the exact things, but it is a periodic beep beep. Makes sense, right? What these guys would do on these oil containers is they'll turn off the transponder once, which means they'll give them a window of, say, instead of 30 minutes, 1 hour. And in that, some barge will come close to them, then it will tap crude from there, take that crude and disappear. Barges don't have any such scrutiny, and that is how oil used to be smuggled. I'm told today it's much more blatantly being done from Iran and also from other countries. See, once you do this, let them get away with it, then everybody else starts copying and then innovating on that. So this is the other interesting thing that Erdogan family has been accused of. Now, how did they do it? Because this was like, everybody was complaining. Russia was complaining, Syria was complaining, Iraq was complaining, and they were all complaining about Turkey providing indirect or direct support to Islamist militant groups operating inside Syria and Iraq, especially during the peak of Syrian civil war. Do we even remember who was for, who was against this Bashar Assad? Now, in 2015, Turkmen tribesmen on the Syrian side of the border, calling themselves as the Syrian Liberation Army, were reportedly protecting smuggling routes used to transport oil from Syria to Turkey. These routes were allegedly utilized for oil deliveries to the Western market. Next one, please. Just give me 1 second. I have some message. Oh, another interesting thing. Last night, the Adani Airport Holdings has terminated its association with Chinese Dragon Pass, which provided access to airport lounges with immediate effect. So Adani Port Lounge, if you are using that access, you may find some of the accesses limited. I do remember seeing Adani lounges in Mumbai, for example. So look out. I mean, you may, if you want to wait for some time while waiting to board your aircraft in business lounges in airports, especially Adani lounges, there may be some restrictions to that also. Now, Turkey was widely known to give support to Syrian rebel groups fighting the Assad regime, many of whom were linked to Islamist ideologies, especially factions associated with the Islamic Brotherhood, which Turkey ideologically supports. Next one, please. The allegations say that Turkey's permissive border policies, allowing foreign fighters, weapons, and supplies to reach jihadist groups, including ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and Al-Qaeda affiliated groups, such as the Jabhat al-Nusra. Later, it became Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. These people change their names, their organizations change their name. God only knows what anybody is fighting for. I think these people just have lost complete sense of who they fight for. They just look at the guy next to them. That guy is fighting. This guy also puts on his stuff and fight. Let's fight. Who do they fight? Maybe they decide it every day. I have no clue. But because that's how that whole that era came and went. We never knew which group United States was supporting. At one point, it was believed that United States was supporting ISIS. So Turkey has been widely known. Get back. Last one, please. Okay, I think we covered this. Next one, please. Now, what is the safe zone in northern Syria? This was interpreted some as an effort to shield these groups and limit Kurdish forces' influence. Kurds, they are spread over 3 countries, at least 3 countries that I know of, maybe 4. Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and I think Iran. And guess where? Where the Kurds are is where much of the oil deposits are there. So that's why the Kurds are always kept separate, and that they are made to fight for it. None of these countries treat Kurds in a nice way. And this whole thing about smuggling operation was controlled every step of the way, allegedly by Bilal Erdogan, son of Recep Erdogan. The whole incident was described as extra-constitutional enterprise exerting pressure on the Turkish president's office. Take a look at all the reference links that we have provided viewers. pgurus.com was publishing this left, right, and center in 2016, 2015, and so on and so forth. Now, when all this was happening, what was Russia doing? There was an interesting thing that happened. Russia and Turkey got into a conflict. Just wait for a few minutes and I'll tell you all about it. So, what happened was Bashar Assad sought help of Russia, saying that, look, I'm your long-term ally, can you help me? So when they entered the Syrian conflict, tankers and mercenaries protecting them came under heavy Russian air attacks. So these are all protectorates of Turkiye, and now they are coming under heavy fire from Russian troops. Russia expressed bewilderment that neither US nor NATO intelligence detected the large-scale oil smuggling operations involving approximately 90,000 barrels of oil per day. Profits from this smuggling were alleged to have financed groups linked to ISIS. That is the bigger problem. And I think in the first term of Trump, they took out what's his name, al-Baghdadi, and at that point of time, I think US also found enough time to go and clear ISIS off of some of these other bodies that were controlling Mosul, especially in Kurdish oil places. There is some autonomous control there now. They can legally sell their oil, but all this is happening under US protection. Now, then let's get back to Russian involvement during that time, 2015 to 2018 or so. Turkey was accused of actively supporting anti-Assad groups, many of which later morphed into the Islamic State. Turkey sought to have its area of operation in northern Syria declared a no-fly zone in an attempt to protect these interests. Next one, please. So, in November 2015, Sergei Lavrov directly accused Turkey of siding with ISIS by shooting down a Russian aircraft conducting anti-terrorist missions. Lavrov alleged that Turkey's actions were premeditated, planned, and carried out with specific objectives. You know why all this makes sense? How long do you think that plane transgressed into Turkish airspace? 17 seconds, 17 seconds. And the Turkish government, when they shot it down, the pilot died, but the navigator escaped. Turkey claimed that they gave 10 warnings. Can you imagine giving 10 warnings in 17 seconds? Somewhere the story didn't add up. But interestingly, the United States did not question Turkey about this. Maybe they thought Russia got it because they never liked Russia's involvement into Middle East. They didn't want Russia to get a foothold into Middle East. So maybe that's what it was. But be that as it may, this story doesn't hold water according to me. Next one, please. As time went along, more and more countries became increasingly skeptical of Turkey's dual role, suspecting the shooting down of the Russian jet was pre-planned. The Russian pilot was killed, like I said, but the navigator survived. In December 2000, that was November, now we come to December 2015, the Russian Defense Ministry presented alleged satellite images and evidence claiming Turkiye under the Erdogan family was the main consumer of ISIS oil. So most likely the thing was bought out by the Erdogan family and then put on these barges, put on the oil containers which were doing eights, and then from there on, all that money looks like they siphoned it off. And Deputy Defense Minister Anatoly Antonov directly alleged that Erdogan and his family were involved in this illegal oil business. And I don't know why Russia stopped this one. This is now 8-9 years now. I don't know what happened of it, but somewhere Russia and Turkey now are, like uneasy neighbors. Each needs the other one. So they say, okay, fine, let's coexist. Now let's take a look at what is happening in India. The Boycott Turkey movement. This is big because so much trade is being done with Turkey, and see how many organizations are now acting quickly. Boycott Turkey is a hashtag also. It's becoming very popular these days, and because of Turkish support to Pakistan. I don't know what they were thinking. They didn't think that India would hit back. I have a sneaky feeling that all these guys got convinced or drunk on Chinese technology, thinking the Chinese technology is going to really hit back at India, even though the perpetration of the attack of 26 innocent civilians also appears to have had the blessings of the Chinese. Because there is no way China could have got all the ISR located for all these 9 terrorist spots unless they knew from beginning. Now, it is not localized to one sector, but it is now beginning to become widespread. Tourism was the first one. Major Indian travel platforms like Make My Trip, reported a 60% drop in new bookings to Turkiye and Azerbaijan, with cancellations surging by 250% in the past week. By the way, I'm also hearing that tourist traffic to Kashmir is also down significantly. Significantly. Travel companies such as Ease My Trip and Cox and Kings have suspended all travel offerings to Turkey and Azerbaijan, aligning with the boycott call. This is the big one. Turkey tourism. Next one. Udaipur, a major hub for India's marble industry, has suspended 3,000 crores worth of marble imports from Turkey. Approximately 70% of India's marble imports come from Turkey, and this move reflects a significant economic stance against Turkey. Indian traders have started boycotting Turkish products such as apples, carpets, and marble, further impacting trade relations. Hashtags such as Boycott Turkey have trended on social media platforms, reflecting widespread public support for the boycott. This is not all. Many organizations are now joining in. The Swadeshi Jagran Manch (SJM), affiliated with the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, has urged the Indian government to impose economic sanctions, halt civil aviation linked halt civil aviation links and re-evaluate diplomatic relationships with Turkiye and Azerbaijan. Not only that, JNU announced the termination of its academic agreement with Turkey's İnönü University, citing national security concerns. Now, this is where the giveaways and takeaways. If India stops going to Turkiye for tourist destination as a tourist destination, what is the impact? Over 4,000 crores. Now, this is not all. Like I told you, the IndiGo airline agreement, IndiGo was that route was the cheapest, I'm told. So that would be a big one. I don't know what IndiGo is going to do. I'm sure the Modi government is not going to allow IndiGo to just continue doing what they are doing. In fact, people will stop using that because this is no longer a secure mode. You are stepping on enemy land. The boycott is expected to deepen Turkey's economic challenges, already strained by high inflation and other factors. You want to guess what their inflation rate is today? 80% to 100%. That means every month things are becoming almost 10-20% higher. Boycotting Turkey will hurt its economy and demonstrate India's united response to a country seen as a sympathizer of terrorism. Any country that says that they are with Pakistan is essentially saying that they are endorsing terrorism. As simple as that. So with that, I stop my monologue here. There are some questions. In fact, there are quite a few questions. Let me see how quickly I can go through them. My voice isn't back to my normal self. I'm going to try and keep the answers as quick as possible, as short as possible. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskaram, from no funds to superior warfare, Bharat has moved under Modi. Surely all capabilities have not been shown. What more shock does Bharat have in store? I'm told only a small percentage of what Bharat can do has been shown. So, of course, you're always going to keep something back for a later day, right? Because I know now China is scrambling to find out what exactly it is that Akash Tir can do and see if they can counter that. Vasu Iyengar, I mean, Pakistan will take anything China throws at it just to spite India. And then, it's like, cutting off one's own nose because you don't like the face. Vasu Iyengar wants to know, during China-USA trade talk, did China pressure Trump to have Apple pull iPhone manufacturing out of India? I don't think so. Next one, please. Karthik Kesiraju wants to know, we shouldn't care West media. We lament Shivaji and Indian icons are overshadowed by Mughal narrative. Sharing victory Sindoor. Yeah, I can't make sense of what you're saying, but yeah, just ask one question, please. Next one. Thank you, Mini. USA telling Turkey arms. What's your opinion? Look, US will sell arms to anybody who's willing to pay for it. I mean, they have a big military industrial complex and they're not going to go away quietly. Next one. RK wants to know, what was Mukesh Ambani doing there with Trump and others trained? Well, as a businessman with so many things, with fingers in just about everything, you can't make any enemies. What can I say? Next one. Sanjay, thank you so much for your super sticker. Vinit Joshi, thank you so much. India can inflict a loss of more than $20 billion on Turkiye by denying airspace to Turkish Airways and Turkey-related cargo services. This can kill the Turkish aviation sector, which is a human incentive. Yes, I agree. Next one. Anu Char wants to know, sir, US also needs to be similarly for all their double standards, backstabbing, etc., etc. But can it ever happen? US is a slightly difficult ball of, I mean, it's a different game. It has to be played more carefully, but India, I think, is ready for it. Let's wait and see. Both think that they are great negotiators, Trump and Modi. Let's see how this plays out. They'll arrive somewhere. Mini, thank you so much. Talisa Vatakam granules for cough. Take care, sir. I will. Thank you so much. Next one, please. In L and Subhash, will AD companies now be compromised for leakage of info and blueprints? I think this has to be investigated. I'm sure there were some leaks. They'll find out where it was and they'll try and fix those loopholes. Next one, please. ABP Phone 101, you need to do a show on Bhavishya Malika predictions. A lot of these are coming true now. Yes, indeed. I seem to be incredibly lucky. I mean, I have a good read on what's going on. Maithili wants to know, Namaskar, is POK on the cards anytime? You know, this should give you a hint that China had surveillance of all the terrorist sites. Do you think they are going to allow you to occupy POK just like that? They've already got troops in there. In Gilgit-Baltistan, they have an enclave with Chinese people residing there, over 100,000, I'm told. Anything, even 10,000 is a big number. So China is going to guard this state as its own. We'll see. It has to be decided whether it's worth it or not. Next one. Anil Sharma says, what is the motive behind Indian National Congress opening office in Turkiye? These guys are sold out. What can I say? Next one. Divyanshu Upadhyay, why has India failed to annex POK and defeat Pakistan? I just answered this question. It's not worth it. 100% it's not worth it. Let them be where they are. Let's first clean out inside what's happening. GP, Sergi, what is the picture behind you? This is called the Rotunda. This is the San Jose city office building. It's about a few years old. They built it to say that San Jose was the World Wide Web capital. So that's why the globe. And it's a beautiful rotunda. And if you go to San Jose city office today, that's where this is located. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar. We'll be back in a few hours with Celebi Venkat on some amazing new revelations. Do join us for that. Namaskar.